What's up, everybody? Welcome back to HBCU. Me and the gang, we're back for another episode, and this time we are discussing Black Lives Matter. See the enthusiasm in the back.
Yeah.
So, man, this is going to be a lot different from the last time because we was introducing each other. But I do want to say that once again, I am Vito. The rest of the crew, we're here. We're talking about Black Lives Matter, guys. So I expect this to be kind of a lively conversation. We're going to get away from the structure. We're going to get away from the questions. And I just want to talk about the movement. Like, I know me and Jared have been talking about it a lot. And just everything that's going on. And Rayshard, matter of fact, let's do this. I want to pay my respects to Rayshard, Brooks, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and the many, many more. That's just the most recent ones. So I'm praying for the family, hoping, they're being able to cope as best as possible. Horrible thing that happened in those beautiful human beings. And I just wanted to say that first and foremost, and many more, unfortunately. But
right.
Yeah. So guys, you know what I'm saying? J-Rock, if it's all right, bro, I want you to start first, man. Just kind of give me your feel about what you feeling with this whole movement, everything that's going on. I think we're working on like 21 days now, man. 21 to 22 days straight protests.
Man, I had mixed emotions at first about it. I think the movement now, I think it's getting more coverage and it's potentially gaining more ground. Not that, the killing of the unarmed black brothers and sisters just start happening. I think what's gaining the movement on it now is you got people that don't look like us that are actually marching with us. I mean, I don't watch a lot of the news, but I kind of follow a little bit of the protests and all that, and almost every video you see, our white brothers and sisters marching too. And then I think the biggest thing about it is, if you look at the age demographic of them, they're young.
Yeah. Shoot, more of them than it is us a lot of times.
I think it's a unique, right. So I think it's a unique situation because, I mean, when you think about the movement, whatever you want to call it, the biggest, the racist, and all that, they're a certain age bracket. So now I think you see some of the Caucasians that are marching. I mean, it's probably their children. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean,
real talk.
Man, more than it's ever been, bro. More than it's ever
been.
Way more.
What it look like in Dallas, though, fellas? Like J-Star and what it's looking like in Dallas? Because I ain't really talked to y'all about it. Like, what the crowd look like. I seen it on the news, but
it seems like they marching every week, man. Like, what's crazy and I don't know if you know, but up near my way, so I live in Frisco. I mean, up near Frisco and Allen and Plano, even in Saxee and Garland, those are all cities that are like predominantly white, and each city had their own march last weekend or weekend before last. Each city, so it's crazy. Like, I thought I'd never see Saxee, which is where I live, or Garland or Wiley, which they're all predominantly white areas. I live in the suburbs, but they have their own marches.
We know.
It ain't just like that. It ain't just like Dallas. So, DZ, I know you live closer to Dallas. You may be able to hit us up over there.
I live in Dallas. I live 5 minutes from downtown. I mean, so for me, I spent 3 days on the streets. I protested 2 days, and then on the third day, I went and did a cleanup with some kids from a school. Man, I mean, it was beautiful. I don't know what else to say. I mean, some bad stuff was going down. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it seemed like every time something bad was about to happen. I mean, I don't know. It's weird to say, but cops are coming, and it's like white people jumping in front of all the black people. It's like, what?
Yeah, right. Right.
And they hollering and screaming, and we like, man, get the fuck. We are looking at each other like, man.
Exactly.
Everybody masked up and stuff, so it's like, you just see people's eyes. You like, everybody, all the black people like,
is this really happening?
Yeah, let them have it.
Man, lady on TV. She was like, "F you, Black Lives Matter." Talking to the
Man,
police. I was like, "Whoa."
it's crazy. It's crazy because we got y'all in Dallas, J-Rock in Memphis, Ja in a good old Alabama. What you seeing up there, bro?
I believe, the closest, I believe it's probably Birmingham that, we've seen just a lot. There's been a lot of protesting there. And as far as here, in Anniston, it's just been some rallies in the community, like the local parks and some gatherings and things like that. But just from the big protests and things, it's probably the biggest is in, Birmingham.
Hey, Jack, can you let people know where Anderson is, man?
Yeah. Where on the map can I find that?
East Alabama, man.
Ain't nobody heard of that, right?
But it's crazy. It's crazy because he like an hour and a half from Atlanta.
About an hour and a half from Atlanta. Yeah, it's east.
We'll say that next time.
So, bro, let me tell y'all crazy though, because I've had the opportunity to see Georgia, because I was in Atlanta a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, and I saw protests in Alpharetta. Now, if y'all don't know, Alpharetta, North Atlanta, like north of Atlanta. So, you get north Atlanta, you hit Buckhead and stuff like that. So Alpharetta was completely white people. It wasn't, I may saw a spot. Then when I left there, went through Tuscaloosa, I saw, that's Tuscaloosa, Alabama, for those that don't know, but I saw a protest and it was mixed. I was kind of surprised at that because but Tuscaloosa is probably a little bit more progressive just since the university is there. But
Right.
Then I saw some in Mississippi, in Hattiesburg, where I'm at. So Hattiesburg is also a little bit more progressive. You get a lot of people that think Mississippi is nothing but dirt roads and stuff like that. But Hattiesburg a little bit more progressive. I saw probably a group of 10. This was a smaller one, and it was pouring down rain. I'm talking about this was when Cristobal was coming through. So you're talking about mad rain pouring down. These kids was out there, like I said, 10 or 15 kids. But what was crazy, man, is that I saw in front of me as I was driving, I saw a truck, a white pickup truck, had Trump stickers all across the back, rebel flags all across the back. I'm turning in, and then, me and my girl, we about to go to put some stuff up. And I'm turning in as I see them turning too. I'm like, where they going? I'm like, surely they're not about to go mess with these kids that's protesting on campus. Man, by the time I get ready to go out, I see them parking. They pulling out big, huge rebel flags. It's about 4 of them. And I'm like, bruh, is it that serious? Is it that deep to where you can't let us have our moment without you coming up with this hate type stuff? But I mean, we see it every day. It's all over the TV. And it's insane, man. But
at first I thought you were about to say they was pulling out Black Lives Matter signs.
No,
man.
sir. No, sir. Not happening. No, sir. That truck was outfitted, bro. It's like they bought all them bumper stickers that day.
That's actually pretty cool, but
no way. I promise you, like,
dang.
I ain't get to read all the stickers, man, but I guarantee you a bunch of them joints was unsavory. I promise you. And it's like they bought them that day. But I'm like, they may ride around with them all the time, but it seemed like they were making a point to like post up where those protesters were to try to, antagonize them or whatever. But man, J-Rod, I want to touch on something that you said, like just the fact that it's different now in the sense that we got so many different colors, so many different people, as far as being white people, just to be frank. You know what I'm saying? You see so many white people out there. And I'm going to ask y'all this question. Do y'all think that's attributed to, a lot of it is attributed to COVID-19? Like, the reason why I say that, let me give you a little context. The reason why I say that is because, and I appreciate it. I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but I'm just being real. I really feel like them sitting at home, a lot of them without jobs, a lot of them, not necessarily in bad situations, but in a situation they never really been in. And to be like, man, just kind of have an awakening. Is this what they have to deal with all the time? Like, you know, I'm in the house now, and I ain't got no check coming in. It's hard for me out here. That coupled with boredom and just freaking being locked up this whole time, and just, you know, like, man, I'm going to march for them. Like I said, I'm not saying it's misplaced, is no, you know, heart in it, but I do feel like COVID-19 had a little bit to do with it. And I wonder what y'all thought.
I'll answer my part of it. I definitely believe it does. A lot of it based on what you said, but also though, I mean, like you said, like people just sitting at home. And this is the first time we ever had a chance to, like, everybody. I mean, even black people, for to just, like, normally, you know, you got soccer practice, basketball practice, work, whatever. This is the first time we ever been able to just, like, let it sink in and actually see it. And then, like, you know, really see it. And then, you know, you got a chance to look at people's Facebook, like your people, for white people, you know, like for the black people that you care about in your life, and you see them on Facebook and you see how they feel. And, you know, maybe you really have a chance to empathize, to let it sink in. Another thing, I mean, we've seen black people get killed in the street. This is the first time they had a video where somebody was kneeling on somebody's neck for 8 minutes, and the whole thing was video.
Bruh.
I mean, you look at the dude. I mean, you look at the cop's eyes the whole time. You know, I mean, I think that was the first time we saw something like that. I mean, even me, you know, like I've never seen anybody on somebody's neck like that.
Yeah, that dude didn't care, man. You like you said, you could see it in his eyes, man. He didn't care.
So I think that had a lot to do with it. Me.
Man, I'll be real with you, man. I don't think it has anything to do with it. I think I think if that was the case, if people were that bored, they just go somewhere else, because everything, at least here, most of the stuff is open. You know, so I mean, you could be anywhere else right now, but you right there on the front lines. You know, you made that sign. So I mean, I wouldn't dismiss it for some people, but I think for the most part, people it hit people differently this time. Now, what I do think is the boredom is the people out there looting. I think that got a lot to do with being locked up. I think
that's boredom, opportunities, but you gotta think about it too, though. That ain't their first time looting when something crazy happens.
No, they steal all the time.
They steal all the time. These cats will steal if the lights go out for long enough. Trust me.
But yeah, you're right. But you know, I do think, you know, that's April, May. I mean, May. That time frame, people was coming out, everything was opening back up 50%, you know.
So let me ask you this though, because you said you disagree, and I'm not trying to change your mind, but I got a question. I honestly feel like Philando Castile's was way, way, way worse than George. Not to compare, I hate to say it like that, but to see a man laid out like that in a car bleeding, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, that was rough, bro. Like, his girl and his kid was in the car. Like, but if you ain't outraged about that, I just feel like, you know, George Floyd, you know, like O said, that was our first time seeing it. But, you know, just for, if we talking about looking at a movie and somebody grossed out, looking at Philando Castile laid in that car like that is way worse than me watching George. So
I'll tell you my thought behind that and why I think this would make a difference. I was telling my wife this yesterday, and I was like, this, like O said, this is the first time in history, well, I won't say history, sorry, but this is the first time in a long time that people couldn't justify it. You know, like with Castile, what did they say? Yeah. Oh, he had a gun.
Before the video.
What happened before the video with Trayvon? Oh, the guy was trying to save his own life, and Trayvon was in the wrong neighborhood at the wrong time with the gentleman, Aubrey. They said he was peeking in houses. Like, that got anything to do with losing your life. You know what I mean? So people justified it, and wrong or right, they justified it. And so when George Floyd died, there was no justification. There's nothing you can say whether he was doing what some people did. They tried to. They tried to say. They tried to say like he was on drugs or did something beforehand because he wrote a bad check, like that guy thing.
Yeah. $20.
Man, but I was talking to this lady.
$20 fake bill.
And she was like, yeah, when I saw that young man, it was a white lady. She was doing my quote for me or something. And she was like, when I saw that young man on the floor yelling for his mama, just helpless, it just did something to my soul. You know?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's just my thought behind it. Like, I just think previous times people justified it, but now they like, oh crap, that was messed up, you know.
I know Ja was surprised when he saw that Ray Shard joint.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
You know, in my opinion, it's just I just think it's hard to deny. You know, in my opinion, that you know it's something much bigger going on, right? I mean, as far as just when you look at it from it's hard for me not to look at this from a spiritual standpoint. You know, just it's so many things. Like I think you know, J-Star, you touched on just 2020, right? Just everything that's occurred. You know what I mean? It's just a lot going on, and to me, I don't think we fully understand yet. You know, and I don't think we will. You know, when it comes to God's plan. But you look at COVID and, you know, everything that's happening now with George Floyd and all the things that we've mentioned, you know, it just feels like it's hard to deny that for me. You know, that it's a bigger picture that we're, you know, if we don't see it, you know, if all we see is, you know, just those things that's happening around us, those circumstances, and not kind of step back to say, okay, hey, for all these things to be happening, you know, what's what's God trying to tell us, you know, or you know, what do I need to take from this? You know, and that's the question I ask myself, really causing me to think about, you know, this movement and how can I, you know, participate or give back more. So, man, it's difficult, you know, it's very emotional, for sure, with everything that's going on.
Man, I can tell you how I feel, bro. You know, I feel like and I don't know if y'all saw like Dave Chappelle, one of his segments recently when he was going on that Netflix tour,
Yeah.
and he was like, Emmett Till, you know, his death was horrible, but it changed the way we live for 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 forever, basically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that death, like the way it happened, it changed lives. And then so like now with George Floyd dying, you know, you don't want to substitute a life for it, but with everything that happened, like look how much money is being poured into. Some of that's probably out guilt, but look how many people are out there fighting. Look how many people are. We touched on it last week, like outing their friends and stuff like this, and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff is coming to fruition. And then what happened with us? You know, we've been talking about doing this for a little while now.
Absolutely.
You know, so
Right.
I think a lot of good changed in people's heart. You know,
And that's what I was kind of getting to too. It's forcing you to think. I mean, it's forcing you to, man. I mean, you have to. You can't deny everything that's going on now. You have to question things. You have to think about things a little deeper. It's just so many things, you know, that's going on. So much stuff going on in the world, man.
Yeah. Jay, so you said something that made me think about something, man. Y'all call me Mr. Controversy because I feel like that's my job. But for real, so the reason why I say that is because, man, in today's culture, bro, like social media, for one, you know, somebody gonna make some money off of social media rehab one day. Unfortunately, it probably won't be me, and somebody probably watch this and be like, you know what, that's a good idea. But there's a strong need for social media rehab. People, I ain't even gonna get too deep into it, but I'm gonna tell you why it relates to this conversation today. There's a lot of photo ops out there. There's a lot of people that's out there marching and can't even put their cell phone down because they're so busy recording, you know, where they are, what they're doing, you know, taking photos. Uh, it's just a big opportunity. Hashtags run everything to a great degree. You got basically every chance you get, if you can hashtag something and put yourself in a picture with it, you automatically associate that with likes. Likes right now is like money. In some cases, that's true. people do monetize their pages, but what I'm talking about is from a mental standpoint where likes mean so much to a person to the point where they'll go to the ends of the earth to get them. And along with COVID, along with a lot of that, I do feel like there's a lot of people out there that's doing stuff for social media influence. Now, I'm gonna say this. Everything that is going on, like I said before we even did this episode, I feel like it's necessary. I feel like it's needed. Do those people that's doing it for social media matter? Do they make up the large population of it? I don't know. But the reason why I bring it up, there's a fear in that, because the mass of people that we got helping to carry this movement, there's a possibility that some of those people can fall off. So in order to maintain that momentum, we have to continue. We, the ones that actually mean good by it, have to continue and not fall into that category of saying the hot topic as of right now. So that's why I feel like it's important to, to at least address it and say that, pay attention to those people that are out here for a hashtag and make sure you don't fall into that category.
Man, that's definitely important. I mean, just think about social media, though. I mean, it can be used, like you're saying, it could be a positive thing, or it could have a negative impact. And to me, I think it depends on like the topic, or the situation that's at hand, right? All right, so with social media, like I was saying, sometimes people can, respond if they see something. You can respond in a quick way or kind of emotional response, and I think not really without really understanding all the details or the facts behind the situation. So I think that's part of. I think we need to think more. Think and really before we respond a lot of times, because I don't. It's no excuse, for us to respond in a bad way and a negative way. I don't think that, that sets a good example, or it sets the stage for change, like how, I know we want to get attention and stuff like that from a standpoint of, causing change and, cause people to hear us. But I think it's still important that we do it the right way. And so really that's what I wanted to say about that from that standpoint.
Yeah.
I just think you got to be careful in general. Because I do, man, I've been sitting just thinking about the whole movement, and Vito kind of spoke on it. I mean, you got the opportunistic people that are from the people marching. I mean, from some of the people marching to some of these companies now, all of a sudden they got ads, Black Lives Matter, and they support, the plight of the African American and all of that. And I think it kind of, going back to your original point, I think COVID kind of played I wouldn't say a large part, but I think it has played some part, because I think what COVID did do, and it almost kind of ties into the spiritual aspect as well, as Joe was saying. What COVID did do, number one, it forced people to sit down. So you couldn't, we get so busy and bogged down with life where it's easy to be blinded by stuff. So what it did, it forced you to sit down. And then the second part it did, as unfortunate as it was, with the job losses, I'm in the banking field. So, I have small businesses that were, doing great. And then in 3 weeks, you wondering, can you keep your doors open? So I think what it did, like I said, not in a celebratory way, but I think it broke down a lot of the people that were kind of on the high horse.
Help you empathize a little bit.
Exactly. And it's now okay. Whereas, maybe you had an African American family where you talked about poverty or the hood, if you will. Oh, whatever, they're lazy, they're bums, they need to go to work. Well, now you're in that same unemployment line with them.
Mm-hmm. It's taking you 4 or 5 weeks to even get your stuff processed.
Exactly. So now it's like, are you a lazy bum? Because I don't know anybody that just wakes and say, you know what, man, I want to be broke my whole life. I don't want nothing.
I know.
So I think that part of COVID helped it. And then I just feel like you got to be a little careful with the movement. because I think you can't really control them. You're gonna have those that are for the cause. You're gonna have those that maybe couldn't relate, but now they've, I guess, seen the light, or come to, and now they see it. And then you're gonna have those that are opportunistic. It's the hot thing to do right now. But my biggest thing is, and I say it really to our Black brothers and sisters and everybody else, my thing is, what's next?
Yeah.
At some point, the marching will stop. At some point, we'll be done. At some point.
Yeah.
So what's next? Like, because when because I mean, you look at history, recent history. We marched for Trayvon, we marched for Mike Brown.
Yeah.
And countless others. And then after that, it's right back to it. So my thing is, what are you gonna do when the rich whites say, okay, Black Lives Matter isn't as cool anymore, and they decide to do what they want to do.
So yeah, right.
So I'm like I said, so my thing is like we as Black people in particular, there's things we can do. We got to educate ourselves. I feel like even on the spiritual realm, you got to position yourself.
Yeah.
Because I do think we're in a very unique time that I think it'll never come again in my lifetime. We got it in a unique time where it can be a transfer. I'm talking about a wealth, I'm talking about an influence, I'm talking about a power and everything. But what you have to do is position yourself. So, I mean, we can march and all that, but if after all this, we don't see legislation changing, we don't see not even voter turnout, but not a presidential necessarily, but are you voting for your congressman? Are you voting for your mayors? Are you voting for these judges that's been in these that gets elected to lifetime positions?
Yeah.
And these are the same judges that's arresting Pookie with a half a gram of weed and locking them up for 40 years.
Yeah.
So those type of things, I think those are the things that we have to do. But on the other end, and I feel I might be rambling, but the other thing is,
go for it.
The thing that frustrates me is that we're the oppressed people, but then we're also supposed to be the people to come up with the answer to not be oppressed.
Yeah.
So so I think to get that change, we're gonna have to have people in power that, okay, they're right. So we need. I think I've heard of a few changes where they have, I forget the lady's name. It was in New York. Oh, the Amy Cooper. I think they were saying something like an Amy Cooper law, which basically, if you were found to call the police on a person of another race or religion or whatever, and it came out to be bogus, you get arrested. I mean, stuff like that. I think once you have that, I think that opens the door. But I mean, we can't change. We can't fix what we didn't create. I'll say that.
Right. Yeah. Not especially not by ourselves.
Right.
So man, you touched on something that I feel like I just want to mention, we can go deep, we can deep dive in this stuff all day, but like some of the policies and some of the, like you said, some of the bills and this criminal justice reform, moving all this, right, a lot of old laws and making changes to policing and stuff like that, stuff that I feel is absolutely necessary. So, but again, missed the controversy here. So this is my challenge to not about the reform, not about the changes to policing, but when people say vote. So I'm in Mississippi, you know what I'm saying? First of all, disclaimer, I'm not telling anybody not to vote. I want everybody to vote. Especially, if you know what you're voting for and who you're voting for. But that's where the education needs to begin, in my opinion, because we are so simplified as a people and as a nation to where a D and an R or blue or red determines our decision.
Mm-hmm.
You can't say Democrat equals good, Republican equals bad. At some point, we need to expand on that as a people in our communities or whatever. We need to do the research. We need to talk to and see who is running, because at the end of the day, while we're looking for a vote to make a change, the actuality is we still don't know that person and their motives just because they got a D beside their name. And,
Right.
you know, I'm not saying everybody votes that way, but the majority of the people that's our color feel like Democrat is for us. And I'm not saying I'm absolutely not a Republican. I'm none of that. But basically what I'm saying is, how do we begin that education, man? How do we understand that we can't depend on voting and voting alone to be what's going to start that structural change, when, especially when we don't know who we're voting for and their morals and values? I feel like if you're going to describe a candidate, D and R should be the last things that we look at. We should look at morality. We should look at their ethics. We should look at their willingness to improve, their motives to change, things like that. Descriptors, bro. We don't need a D and an R. So while it's great, and I see a lot of celebrities on TV, you know, get out and vote and do stuff like that, we're leaving it to our people to understand exactly what they're voting for, when it's not because they're ignorant, but it's simply because the information is not readily available to what you're doing. It's at least to them. Because just because it's readily available, that doesn't mean you know where to go look for it, or you know what
Right.
you're looking for when you do look for it. So there has to be movement around that as well.